Hello everybody, I'm BadBoyG316 and today I am bringing you another video, and today's video is going to be a review on Final Fantasy 15. Now before we get into the review, I would like to say that I'm sorry that this review didn't go up sooner, because this whole entire project was supposed to be finished in January, but my account got into a little bit of a situation violation terms on Sony's end, and my account got banned because it was temporarily hijacked, so I have to focus on that first and get that solved before my account was escalated into a bigger ban, which is something we all don't want. So I had to get that solved, and since Sony is on my side and they understand that my account was hijacked and they're restoring my account right now, I could get on with the video. So let's get straight into this review. Final Fantasy 15 came out in 2006 on November 29th. Now I would like to go into the history of the actual game development crew and what they have done in the past that make this game such an iconic piece in gaming history. So Final Fantasy 15, like I just said, is made by a company called Square Enix. Now Square Enix didn't become Square Enix until 2003 when the company Enix Corporation absorbed Square Co. for itself. Both companies was known in the 1990s and 1980s for their own individual series that was going on. In the 1990s and 80s, Square was known for Final Fantasy 1 through 11, Romancing Saga 2, and basically the Saga series, and Kingdom Hearts 1. Enix was known for Dragon Quest 1 through 7, Star Ocean, Grandia, Just Breed. Now, Just Breed was a little bit weird because Just Breed just came out a couple of years after Final Fantasy 1, and it sort of looked like an exact replica of Final Fantasy. Now, I'll admit, I don't know if Enix was just trying to copy something that was mainstream at the time, that Square obviously struck gold on first, but if they was, I guess Enix missed out a little bit. At the same time, there's no sources on the internet that tells anybody that Just Breed was successful. With that being said, this game was also exclusively released in 1992 only in Japan for the NES, and there are certain sources saying that this was a popular game among the NES. Only because the game is popular doesn't mean it's successful. So that's the history behind Square Enix, and now we're moving on to the story of Final Fantasy 15. Now the story of Final Fantasy 15 actually starts off with a little random opening, I would say. You have your generic Final Fantasy intro, the next you don't even teleport, you go straight into the game and you're playing as the main character Noctis. Well, as you're playing as the main character Noctis, you're fighting some crazy ass red hot headed demon in a chair, and he throw fire at you, and the next thing you know, it teleports you to like the past. Now, the reason why they did this, I don't know why they did this, but it really didn't contribute any sort of detail or information towards the story. Even when you beat the game, there wasn't really no reason for the game to open like that. I don't know the reason behind it, but I guess it was for the, the dramatic effect to start off a game. Now, in my opinion, I don't like when games do random time skips into the future like that without giving the reader or the gamer any prior knowledge to what the hell is going on. Now, the synopsis of Final Fantasy 15 has for the story is this. Final Fantasy 15 takes place on a fictional world of Eos. All of the world countries bar the kingdom of Lucas are under the dominion of the Empire of Niflheim. Noctis Luctus Calum, heirs to the Lucian throne, goes on a quest to retake his homeland and his magical crystal after it is seized by Niflheim, on the eve of peace negotiations between the two nations. However, he soon discovered that the crystal is the heart of a much greater threat to Eos, and that his role as a future king is key to averting an apocalyptic event from happening. As for the actual story that you're playing majority of the time, you're playing as Noctis with 3 of his other bros, Gladiolus, Prompto, and Ignis, and you and the boys are just basically on the road majority of the time, doing road trips, doing side missions, or even progressing with the main mission. And throughout the fights in the story, in the game, you're gonna see that they have little bromance moments while they're actually fighting. And on top of that, if you stop playing or moving for a while and you just sit there idle, you're gonna see how there's like little bonding moments, how Ignis is talking to Prompto, Prompto is just chilling with Gladiolus, and Gladiolus is just like scouting around, seeing if there's any danger ahead or if there's something that they should look out for. And when it comes to the actual nighttime of the game, you know, Ignis is a cook and he comes up with different recipes that he discovers throughout the day. And you could ask him to try a recipe or so and they give you a special buff, which is pretty cool. Now, I don't know if some of you guys would actually consider this a part of the actual story. Shortly after the release of Final Fantasy 15, Square Enix started to advertise their Season Pass. Now, me personally, I don't like Season Pass because one, I think they're ruining the gaming industry slightly, and two, personally to me, when I see a game with a Season Pass and they already have planned out DLCs for the future, this is just telling people that, hey, this is content that we had that we could have put into the game for free, basically, or for the $60 that you paid for, or probably $80 or $120 for whatever special edition. You know, you could have got this with whatever, but no, you have to buy our $40 extra season pass, $30 or $20 season pass to get future DLCs. You know, to me, personally, I find that a little bit schemish, you know? You already have DLCs planned, you already have the concept and everything on the board, but you refuse to put it into the full game and put it as the season pass, which is a DLC. That right there is completely, like, questionable. I don't like season passes, and I find it a little bit weird to start off a game with a season pass without explaining fully what's going to be in the season pass. They just say, hey, buy this season pass, you're gonna get future update and content for the game. You know, we don't know what it is, you don't know what it is, so buy it and stay tuned. And you know, for the past couple of months that this game been out, nobody actually know what the hell the season pass actually contained until like 2 weeks ago when they announced the Gladiolus pack for the first time and the Prompto pack at PAX, apparently. So that's the first type of announcement that we ever have for the Final Fantasy 15 season pass. Now, to say if it's good is a whole different story. Like I said, I don't feel like the Final Fantasy 15 DLC is going to be providing much because we already, if you play the game and you beat it, everything and all your answers, not all your answers, but all your questions have been answered. If they're not answered, that's the part where you come in and come up with theories or theorize what would have happened or what could happen. Other besides that, like I said, I don't think these DLCs is going to be bringing anything new to the table, like background information for the character. For an example, let's use this scenario like a Naruto filler. You know, Naruto fillers exist, but Naruto fillers are there for a reason. One, to take up time and space, and two, to just give you a little bit of a background information of the character that they're focusing on within the filler episode or whatever. Not, it doesn't even need to be Naruto, just a filler episode. You know, you're just getting more background story about the character. Now, in these DLCs within the Season Pass, I think that they're just focusing more on the characters instead of expanding the story. Now, this could go into a whole different way because they could expand the story by giving more background to the character and, you know, giving it something else. Like, they could probably do something with Lunafreya. Like, what was she doing all the years that she was separated from Noctis and they was communicating through a book? They could definitely make a DLC out of that, but from the looks of it, it doesn't look like Lunafreya is going to be a part of the Season Pass, but we never know. Gladius and Prompto already got their episodes announced, so why not Ignis and Lunafreya? Even though Lunafreya is not a part of the bros, you know, bros are a hose, but That's inappropriate. But yeah, this is a perfect opportunity. I think that Square Enix could definitely pull off and expand the story in an incognito matter. Now, as for the gameplay in this game, some of you may meme the game and say, hey, we waited 10 years for this. And the developers actually memed this themselves a couple of times too throughout the story. Now, over the course of 10 years, I'm not gonna lie, this game could have been a little bit better when it came to the gameplay. At the same time, the gameplay was still absolutely stunning. Now, here's the reason why I said that the gameplay should have been improved a little bit. Like, from 2006 to 2016, they could have definitely came up with new models, right? Throughout scenes or random scenes, you're gonna see, like, character having models and block heads and block arms like they're characters from 2001 or 2002 from a PS2 game. For an example, a prime example in my opinion, is the Luna Freya speech. I didn't spoil anything because Luna Freya was told to be alive, like literally a couple of missions in the damn game. But the Luna Freya speech that was given halfway through the game, or near the ending of the game, a little bit near the ending, you clearly see that the camera panned over the crowd, and when it panned over the crowd gave some extremely unrealistic movement. Now, you guys are probably gonna say, hey, you're saying extremely unrealistic movement when logic doesn't apply to this game. Noctis could barely push a damn car, but he could parry an attack from a Colossus. Okay, now if you're gonna bring up logic, that doesn't really correlate from what I'm trying to say with the character models. The character models are a whole different thing. Now, that doesn't have to do that much with the gameplay, but that's the visual aspect of the gameplay. And as for the visual aspect, I'm also gonna say this on the other hand, and this is gonna be a huge double-edged sword. The art in this game was extremely fantastic. It is absolutely stunning. Like, literally throughout the whole entire game, you're playing in almost in every single biome you could think of. You're playing in a tundra biome, you're playing in a forest biome, you're playing in a winter biome, but that's only in the story mode. You're playing in a tropical biome, swampy, literally any biome you could think of, you're playing in it. There's certain areas that you're like playing in literally in a crater, like a mountain crater. And sometimes even like you're playing around lava or a volcano that's about to erupt. Like, things like that, in my opinion, definitely blew my mind. Now, for me, my life goal is to become a game designer. And when I see games like this, I have to, well, of course, everybody does this, even if you don't want to become a game designer. But me personally, I visualize the game and see what type of art a game should live up to, and what type of principles or standards that it should have. Me personally, the art in Final Fantasy 15 definitely rose the standards to me of what type of art that game should be capable of. Now, that probably sounds like a huge stretch, but I'm actually not gassing it in any type of way. The art in this game is extremely beautiful. And I'm not gonna lie, at some point when I was actually fighting, and I would say this, the Leviathan fight is the first time a tear came out my eye from a video game because of how beautiful the art was. In the Leviathan fight, you literally saw the dramatic, you felt the dramatic, you feel the build-up, you just feel everything that just came condensed into one, and then you just have to fight this big-ass Leviathan. Now, the reason why you have to fight the Leviathan is something else, and I have to correlate with the story. I'm not going to spoil the story once again, because I'm going to save it for you guys that never played it. I'm making this review in a point of view, or not in a point of view, but I'm putting this in an angle to not spoil it, or leave it as a spoiler. I'm just telling you what I see from it, what I've experienced from it, and if you should get it or not. It's just me. The Leviathan fight was extremely epic. You saw how the whole entire city just crumbled, demolished, and you just see like all these water sprouts, and you just see you're fighting the Leviathan inside of this huge water sprout, this huge tornado that's obviously covered with water. And then next you just see Noctis enraged. And then next you see all the 13 royal arms. Even though you can't even collect all the 13 royal arms, you see all the 13 royal arms just surrounding around you. You see weapons you never saw before. And then next you just start teleporting towards the Leviathan and just beam all your weapons at him, and you see like this huge explosion of art. That's it. You just see this huge explosion of art, and the whole entire scene is so beautiful. The cinematic pose or scenes, sometimes the hand movements are a little bit weird, but that's a different story. Then next you just see like the environment, how you actually see the destruction. You can tell that Square Enix made this one of the best focus fights in this game. On top of that, the music, oh my god, the music. The music in this game, Final Fantasy 15, it literally brought a tear to my eye. Like, man, art like this could still be composed and created in today's time. Like, that is something that is extremely mind-blowing that a lot of people don't know. Or a lot of people don't know that, you know, art can have a potential like that. Still in 2017. The art that was created for the boss fights in this game was composed by a fantastic legend named Yoko Shimomura. She's also known for her other projects like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 for making the intro songs, the nice classic piano opening. If you guys want to see a live recording or playing of her, there's going to be a link in the description. Now, with the pros, there are also cons, and I'm not gonna lie, the choice of music, all the music isn't bad. I'm not gonna lie about that. But the choice of music in certain scenarios are questionable. Or for certain areas, I would say. If you go to, I think it's called Old Lestasm. I think I butchered the name. But it's this old sort of town, a little bit. It tried to give the Western point of view, but the town is literally placed next to a military base that is like extremely futuristic looking. So when you go into the town, you have like this old Western type of music playing, when there's like literally a big ass technical base like right up the hill, or a robotic base. Like you just see like this big ass robotic base like right up the hill from this old wannabe Western town with huge ass buildings, and you just hear this Texas Western type of music, which really didn't make any sense to me in my opinion. But Hey, if that what the guy that made the game envisioned it, then you can't really complain. He's just fulfilling what he visioned. At the same exact time, like I said, the music of choice is questionable for certain scenes and certain parts of this game. With that being said, the actual map size for this game is extremely big, with some faded corners, probably hinting that the map is going to be expanded in the future DLCs, hinting the Prompto episode. As for the actual fighting system or the combat system in this game, we experience a whole new combat system that we've never seen before in any Final Fantasy. Besides, the obvious ones that are online, like 14 and 9, which is a whole different story. And some people may consider Type 0 to be a little bit different, but I'll leave that to the open. I'm not going to touch that. So, the fighting system is something that we've never seen before. And it comes to the point that it's flexible with new players that never played the game, which is extremely good. That's always good, getting new players to the fan base. And at the same time, for veteran players, it's also appealing. But near the end game, when you obviously start hitting top stats and you max out your magic, your attack, your health, and everything, you just max out everything, it just comes to the point that strategy wouldn't really play a huge role like it did in the beginning of the game. And at some point, it's just gonna feel like it's a hack and slash, how you just mash on B or circle, and that's about it. You just kill the enemy, you always get an A. Like, as I stand right now, and this probably sound unappealing to the game, but it's the solid truth. As I stand right now, I have this band on Noctis that give me extremely a huge amount of health, to the point that my health is like 9,999, as you clearly see from the video. I have a band like that. Then I have another band that gives me bonus AP every time I get an A in a fight. My Noctis is like level 70 or 80. All I have to do is press B or circle, one shot the enemy, get an A, got bonus AP, and I'm unkillable, because my health is maxed out to like 10,000. And a monster average damage is like either 500, 100 to 800, depending if it's a non-boss or a non-demon. Now, going from the actual combat system, the enemies is something else that I also want to talk about. The enemies in this game are well programmed a little bit. Some of them are a little bit buggy or a little bit questionable on what the hell they're doing. For an example, the specialized dares that they put into the game. They have a specific name, but I don't want to confuse you guys, so I'm just going to call them dares. These dares run around like at a random fast pace, then sometimes they ram into you, attacking you of course and doing damage, but other times they just like zoop all over the place and just run. Like, what the hell? Why are you doing that? Why are you staggering and zooming around my screen or running around my screen when I clearly have the lock-on feature and I can see where the hell you're going and you cannot walk out of the red area? Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Stop it. Please stop it. Some of the enemies are questionable. At the same time, the amount of enemies in this game feels sort of lowish through an alright amount, if that makes any sense. Throughout the whole entire game, you're fighting like a great range of enemies, and it's a huge amount of enemies that you're fighting with different titles and names. But at the end of the day, it feels like they're duplicates of the same exact enemy you just defeated. Now, I wouldn't hold this against Final Fantasy 15, but I feel like this is a trend throughout the Final Fantasy series, considering the fact that the Red Giants and the Iron Giants in this game are enemies from Final Fantasy 8. There's really not that much enemies to expand or fight after you finish the game. Now, after you finish the game, obviously you have the big ass turtle that's the size of a mountain at the end of the game, and you have all of these hunting these quests, But at the same time, those doesn't fulfill you at some point, because you could just go there and one-shot the enemy, unless he's like a level 50 mob or hunter's rank, but that's a different story. As for the gameplay actually feels nice, it's fun, and I would definitely give this an extreme thumbs up compared to the other Square Enix game and other MMORPGs of Square Enix. And on top of that, this might sound a little bit random. When I play the game sometimes, and in the end game I feel like it's a hack and slash type of thing, it always brings me flashback to the game Drakengard 3. Now I don't know if any of you ever played Drakengard 3, but it's an extremely nice game, and the combat system in this game sort of feels like the combat system in Final Fantasy 15 near the end of the game when you start one-shotting everything. If you guys never heard of Drakengard 3, go check it out. That's an extremely good series. The only downside is that you need a PlayStation 3 in order to enjoy it. But there's no game in that series for PlayStation 4 or the current gen consoles. Now, as for the results and the final judging of Final Fantasy 15, I will give Final Fantasy 15 a 4.5 out of 5 for the story. My reasonings behind this is because there's too many plot holes when it comes towards the ending of the actual story. And like I said, this could be used for the players to theorize what's going on or what could have happened. But at the same time, it's sort of aggravating to some players. I just want to get a concrete answer of what the hell happened throughout everything that have occurred through the story. For the art, I'll give the art a 5 out of 5. The art in this game was absolutely stunning. There was never a moment that Final Fantasy 15 let me down with the art. Every little scene, every little part, besides, you know, the 2002 looking block characters from the Luna Freya speech, every little scene and part was absolutely stunning. As for the gameplay, now the gameplay, I actually had to think about this a little bit more, and the gameplay, I'm giving the gameplay a 3.5 out of 5. Now the reason why I'm giving the gameplay a 3.5 out of 5 is because the cons are that the movements could have been better, and the combat system could have definitely expand itself out a little bit more towards the actual end game. Like I said, after you get to level 80 or 90, everything just feels like a hack and slash. There's really no areas in the game besides like one specific dungeon and the hunting quests. There's literally no monsters or anything you could do to actually thinking in the game and overcoming your enemy. It's nothing like that after you beat the game. Besides, like I said, the huge ass mountain monster. But other besides that, you really don't need any strategy for anything else in this game. As for the music, I gave the music a 4.5 out of 5. And the reason why I gave this a 4.5 is because of the placement of the music. Like I said, the music in this game is fantastic. It's just that they just gotta learn or know when to put the right music in the right setting or place. Now, this is obviously excluding the Ifrit fight at the end of the game and the Leviathan fight, because those are the two main focus talked about boss fights that everybody loved in Final Fantasy 15. Now, besides those two, the music for those two is fantastic, well placed, but for most of the other music, or some, Square Enix, or basically the director of this game, they could have definitely came up with a better placement for some of the music. Now, I should have said this from the beginning of this video, or somewhere around the middle when I was talking about the story, but if you guys want to follow the story easily without getting confused while playing the game for the first time, obviously, you should watch the anime, The Brotherhood of Final Fantasy 15, or watch the movie Kingsglave Final Fantasy 15. Both of them was released last year, and if you want to understand the story, or at least understand a little bit of the story before you actually buy the game, you should go watch those two to get a good grasp of it. After you watch those two, I guarantee that the story will be extremely easy to follow. So until then, everybody, thank you for watching. If there's something that you like or something that you didn't like, please drop it in the comment I would improve that in the future. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumbs down. I'm open to all opinions. So thank you for watching, subscribe, rate, and comment, and take care.